Hi, it's Ann Margolis. Yeah, I am the midwife behind this whole thing here, Home Sweet Homebirth. And as promised, we are opening this up and doing a monthly Q&A. But last month when we did this, there was just so many questions. I could only tackle just a few of the most common ones. And it was already 10 minutes and we didn't have time for the breastfeeding questions. So I want to tackle some of the common breastfeeding questions. A lot of them were personal, some were very serious, and I would say that the serious breastfeeding questions, I would definitely contact your local IBCLC lactation consultant and work with them to resolve your issues. Many people with breast augmentation and breast reduction, and there were surrogacy, adoption. There were all kinds of questions about how to breastfeed with that, and I there's so much. There's definitely you can. And I know a wonderful lactation consultant who actually breastfed her adopted daughter. And she wrote an article. It was published in the Mothering magazine, and it's pretty impressive. So, and this is being done more and more. So, I would definitely contact an IBCLC. Also, some of the questions are very personal. I'm going to, it's not always a one size fits all. I'll try to get to them more generally, and if you need more personal guidance, you can always schedule a consult with me. You just go to homesweethomebirth.com and under services, click the chat with Ann button. But anyway, Kara asks, is nipple confusion really a thing? Can a bottle be introduced early to avoid difficulty transitioning when I go back to work? Well, Kara, yes, nipple confusion is really a thing. I see it often, especially when moms have babies in hospitals that are not supportive of breastfeeding, or they're very, more medical. They're not designated mother-baby friendly. Especially, for example, if there's separation, if there's a cesarean birth or baby's in the intensive care for a bit, or even not. I mean, I see so often, the babies are born, and they go to the nursery, and they're not kept skin to skin or near in the room with mom where they should be. And what happens is they're given bottles. And unless you really specify, I want rooming in and I don't want any bottles given to my baby, what happens if you don't get it right away, you can get nipple confusion because the baby's given bottles, then they get full on the formula, and they get confused by the nipple, and what happens is then they don't want to nurse. It's harder to nurse. They cry, they get frustrated. Mom gets frustrated, and then what happens is her supply will go down because, and then it just creates this whole cycle. And then she thinks she failed, and she doesn't have enough milk, and then she wants to, and everyone's scaring her about it, and it just creates a whole mess. So I would say once. Once breastfeeding is well established, that's a different story. Then you have also the different personalities of different babies. So I would say each baby has a different preference, and you'll learn that. Your babies are your teachers, and they're all different, just like we're all different, right? So some babies will, once breastfeeding is well established, they'll go back and forth with mom will go to work or go out, and someone is taking care of the baby, giving the baby pumped breast milk, and they'll just take it, right? And then there's babies that won't take it no matter what. So I guess, learn from your baby. Definitely wait till breastfeeding's well established, and once that is, have somebody else, not you, give the baby pumped breast milk through, one of those bottles that is closest to a natural nipple from a breast. And if baby takes it, if baby's really hungry and baby takes it, that's great. Might take some getting used to. But then again, some babies just don't. They refuse all kinds of nipples. But you can give the baby pumped breast milk through something else, like like a dropper through on the side of the mouth. But hopefully your baby will take it in some way. But okay, let's see. Gannon asks, I have baby number 3 on the way. I will be home for 12 weeks. How soon should I start pumping? Is it okay to start pumping right away? Amy asks a very similar question. When should she start pumping if she plans to breastfeed and pump? So again, I would say if there has been any kind of separation and the baby's in the nursery, or the intensive care, there was a cesarean birth, I would say yes, start pumping right away every hour and a half to 2 hours in the beginning to really get your milk supply up until the baby's able to breastfeed. But let's say all is going well and you had your baby and baby's breastfeeding right away. I would say baby is really the best pump. And so if you got off to a good start, I would say wait until the first few weeks to pump, because in the beginning you have colostrum, which is liquid gold. It's just a few teaspoons a feed, but it hurts and it's more difficult to get. And also then when your breast milk comes in the beginning, there's engorgement. So whatever you take out of your breast, from the pump, the breast will replace. It's a supply and demand. So when there's that just engorgement and you're making so much milk to feed a ton of babies until until it starts to normalize, I would say that would probably be once it starts to normalize and you're in your groove, that's a good time to start pumping. And take advantage of pumping hands-free with one of those hands-free pumps while you're nursing the other breast, because you're going to benefit from, first of all, it saves time, and you'll benefit from the letdown, because once you're nursing on one side, your breast milk will come into the ducts, it will let down, and it will be, you'll get more milk from the other breast. And given that baby is the best breast pump, you can have baby, nurse the second side, and baby will get, once the baby is finished nursing on the first side. So that's my piece of advice about the, when to start the pumping. I got a lot of questions on my opinions about these hands-free pumps, which one to get, what do I think about them? Abby wants to know how do I know which breast pump is the right one for me? They're so expensive, these hands-free pumps choices, and she wants to get the right one. Well, look, you can't go wrong with the Medela, but yeah, I'm just used to that for so many years. But I'm really liking these hands-free pump, this new craze, these hands-free pumps. So I'm kind of excited about them. I'm getting a lot of good reports. I can't say that I've used them personally, but I've talked to a lot of people that have. And so I would say my two favorites are the Elvie, and I would say, let's say, the Perks. It's quieter, it's smaller, it's more discreet. It does have a bit of a lighter suction on the nipples than the other one. It does include reusable bottles. The downside or the cons to the Elvie are that you can't really lie down or bend over while you're wearing them, and the suction may be too light for some to get sufficient milk. You can't pump directly into the reusable freezer bags. I'm sorry, the freezable breast milk bags. But like I said, it does come with the reusable bottles. The Willow Pump has a lot of perks. It's adjustable, but it has a powerful action, very similar to the hospital grade pumps or the Medela, in terms of the suction, which is powerful, can be very powerful. So because of the powerful suction, sometimes in the beginning it can be very uncomfortable, but you get used to it, and you can lay down while you're pumping. The cons, I would just say the pain in the beginning as your breast is getting used to it. You know, with both of them, there's a learning curve, but there's a learning curve with breastfeeding. I think they're great options for the busy modern mama, and who's always on the run, and also moms that return to work, and they want to continue breastfeeding and pumping, and giving pumped donor milk. So. Let's stay tuned and hear from one of my social media assistants on our team who's expecting, and she's going to be sharing some of her favorite experiences with some of the my favorite products, because she's going through the experience right now of pregnancy, and she'll have her baby in March, and she'll be postpartum, and it's just perfect. Just perfect. We wish her well. So thank you for your questions. Stay tuned next month for more questions. Submit your Q&As through DM, direct message on our page, or any other suggestions on information you want to hear about. Bye.